9 and another week and another D1 college football opening. Welcome back to the midweek college football breakdown. I'm the Ant-Man up top, Brandon Stevens down low, Dalton Miller, and the latest, the Gators, Billy Napier is now on the block, and that is open. That makes about a dozen, you believe that, a dozen openings in D1 college football right now. Hey, if you're looking for a job, there's a place to go.
I mean, the way I talk on here, it's like I should have one. I really shouldn't, but I can act like I know what I'm doing for sure. The coaching carousel is going crazy right now.
You could probably do play calling at least as well as what was going on there this year.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and it also sounds like Florida State, they've come out and said that they're going to address their coaching at the end of the season, basically. Yeah. So, I mean, to me, that's basically saying if you don't get your stuff in order, you're going to be fired at the end of the season. And that's not a vote of confidence. They did not come out and say we stand completely behind what Norvell is doing. Yep. They just completely said we're not going to address any coaching stuff until the end of the season. I expect that one to come open. Kind of expecting the Auburn job to come open. Sounds like Hugh Freeze is really begging the administration and the AD to give him a vote of confidence, and he's not getting it. It actually came out today that they're opening that quarterback job back up between Jackson Arnold and his backup. So
are they?
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in practice today, and we'll see who starts this coming Saturday.
Brian Kelly could be another one. LSU. Who knows?
LSU could be another one. I mean, LSU is still 5-2. It's crazy to me that they're talking about, him maybe being on the chopping blocks right now, because they're still 5-2 and they still have every chance to, be in the top 3 or 4 in the SEC if they'll just step up and do it.
After the last couple of years of Penn State, I think that firing gave permission to some other schools though for this year.
Yeah. Did you see what Nick Saban said on Saturday? Yeah. He's on game day. This is completely unfair. Yep. You brought this team back from where they were before you started. This completely unfair. And he turned around and looked him in the eyes and was like, this is completely unfair. And he's looking at him. And
I love the support from him. He is a coach's coach, man.
I do too. I mean, and I think we talked about this last week. I thought when they announced that he was going to join game day, I was like, oh my gosh, how much boring of a personality could you get? But I really love him on game day. I mean, he's my second favorite behind Pat for sure. Well,
Pat is the one who's definitely brought out the personality of Coach, and that's been fun to see this season.
No doubt.
Sure. He's even cussed on the show. Not that makes it a good show for sure, but it's funny because he seems so straight laced and right down the middle, following all the rules, doing everything. And Pat's got him to say a couple of S-bombs on that. Let's get to this. 28 sacks, 75 tackles for losses. Number 1 in the nation is the Oklahoma defense. A big win over the weekend against South Carolina. Let's start there. How are you guys feeling after this game? Dalton, let's start with you.
Feeling a lot better. I'll say that. We definitely have thought that our defense is good, but man, what a showing. They finally were able to get 2 turnovers. So that was nice to see. The sack, you got to consider that a turnover too. I do in my book because that was a safety and puts 2 points on the board and gives us the ball right back. But I mean, the talk of everything, and you're going to hear it probably this entire show, is the Oklahoma run game. Found a way to get things going on the ground, and they did it early. I mean, John Mateer played a great game, and he just kind of hid in the shadows, threw the ball where he needed to throw. And that was awesome because Blaylock and Robinson just had themselves a day. We had a 200 or a 100-yard rusher at half, and that was incredible to see. Finished with 171 yards on the ground. I just is it real? Pinch me? Are we going to go back to doing stupid stuff next week? I'm just trying to figure out where has that been? And I know that South Carolina's defense probably isn't what some of the other SEC schools are, but we were just physical. There was a change in the way we ran the ball. We also didn't substitute our running backs every 4th play. And we basically stuck with Blaylock and Robinson the entire time. So another big highlight on that offense. It was nice to see Gibson get involved. He was making good catches. He's a long receiver that they needed that just supports Satania, that supports Burks. I mean, overall, I just extremely great day for the Sooners.
Yeah,
I agree.
Think the same.
I do agree. I mean, like Dalton said, the overwhelming story is the running game, and it was unbelievable. Like, I was shocked while I was watching the game. I'm just in the first 2 possessions of our game, we had more rushing yards in an SEC game, or we had more rushing yards in that game than we've had combined in our SEC games so far this year. And so it was by far our best rushing output of the week or of the year. And Torry Blaylock has definitely become our go-to back, rushing for 101 yards in that game on 19 carries. So he's averaging 5.3. He ended up with a touchdown on that game. But we've been begging all year long for a feature back. Like, we want a back that can get in a rhythm. And he got 19 carries. Xavier Robinson got 11 for averaging 5.3 yards, had a touchdown and 58 yards total. I mean, we just had some really good running game. The thing I noticed is it's really the first time I feel like this year, and you can take Temple and Illinois State and all those other teams into consideration in this too. It's the first time I feel like this year that we moved the line of scrimmage once the ball was snapped.
Very much
We
so.
moved the line of scrimmage, and it was 2 yards down the field most of the time before anybody got touched. And they weren't playing 2 yards in our backfield. We're playing 2 yards down the field. And, Torry Blaylock broke off that 20-yard touchdown run, 19, 20, whatever it was, touchdown run, and it was amazing. Xavier Robinson's touchdown run a little bit later, it has come out that it was pretty funny because John Mateer was trying to keep that ball, and Xavier Robinson ripped it out of his hands. They were talking about that a lot today.
That's why that ball was fumbled.
That's why the ball was bobbled, and it looked
He was
weird.
running 3 yards doing this.
Yeah, because he literally ripped the ball out of John Mateer's hands, and it's like, I'm taking this, and he goes 25 yards to the house. I mean, what are you gonna? You can't stop that. If he's gonna do it, you got to give it to him. Our defense. We talk about it every week. Our defense is just ridiculous. Had 6 sacks. Really could have been 8 or 10, but Lenoris Sellers is just tough to bring down. I mean, he's a big dude. You don't realize how big he is until you start looking at it. He's a big dude. He's a hard one to bring down. But, I mean, Lenoris Sellers ended up, and I know they take sacks into consideration for this, but he ended up with -9 rushing yards. Just our defense was unbelievable. After the week we had against Texas, where they went on 12 and 14, where Texas offense went on 12 and 14 play drives late in that game, it was just a pleasant sight to see that we can tackle somebody. And you can't tell me Arch Manning is harder to tackle than Lenoris Sellers, but we didn't do it 2 weeks ago. We did it this week, and they established their dominance again. Still the number 1 defense in the country, and everybody, that's like consensus. Everybody says we're the number 1 defense in the country. We held South Carolina to 3 for 15 on third down conversions. And they didn't have a third down conversion until the fourth quarter. I don't know if you guys realize that, but they were talking about that on my way home from work today on the radio. They didn't have a third down conversion until the fourth quarter. They converted a couple of fourth downs.
That makes sense because of that. I mean,
but he didn't have any third down conversions in the first 3 quarters.
I remember
going into the fourth quarter.
I remember looking at a stat on the screen that said third down conversions 0-9. So for
0 of 9, yeah,
0 of 9 at that point. I guess it wasn't, like you said, until the fourth quarter.
And honestly, in the fourth quarter, we did have some of our other guys in. It was great to see, like Dalton said, the 2 turnovers. We came out +2 on the day, and that was amazing to see. And I agree with Dalton. The safety should count as a turnover. We ended up with 2 turnovers, a safety. One of the turnovers wasn't on their offense's fault. Taylor Wine from Bethany, Oklahoma, making a great statement this season with his play. I mean, he's been unreal and unbelievable this year. And so his story is great. So it's been good to see. We were 50% on third down conversions, which I'd like to see it better than that. But sure. You're still playing a decent defense. They did have some injury bugs that hit them, and they weren't full to 100%. But overall, it's a great game. Going into this week, we'll see what happens. But overall, I feel like it was a great game.
Marcus Strong, sophomore, number 99, one with that safety. Third string defensive lineman. So that tells you where we were at that point in the game.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, that was really cool, man. That was fun. A lot of other great games around the nation this weekend, and I was on the road quite a bit. And I'm not bragging about this, but I was on the road, and because I know this is technically unsafe, but I did have my trusty iPad with a really cool setup in the front seat, so I didn't miss anything. Out of the corner of my eye, mind you, out of the corner of my eye. Let's talk about the good and the bad and the ugly. Let's start with Texas A&M versus Arkansas. Dalton, what are you thinking about this game?
Yeah, I thought the good out of this one was just Marcel Reed. 23 for 32, 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and he added one on the ground. You score 45 points. That offense is just rolling right now, and he is the leader of that offense, and he's got them moving possession after possession. He's got the good for me. The bad was A&M's run defense just got completely exposed, gave up 264 yards on the ground, 204 in the first half. They've got to find a way to get a lot more physical up front on the front end on the defensive side of the ball. And they found a way to win, but the ugly here is the future for me. You can't have a defense that plays this bad on the road next week at LSU, and then the following they get a bye week, and then they go on the road at Missouri. That's 2 really tough games, really tough environments. And if you want to rely on Marcel Reed to put up 45, 50 points a game for you every week, great. But your defense better find a way to get some stops, because this is not a good Arkansas team. Mm-hmm. And you gave up 42 points and you just let them hang around as long as they needed to eventually have a chance to win. But I know they put the game away, but I just don't feel like you can sustain wins. And I'm saying this as an OU fan who we always had letdown games because of this. Right. So they're going to have to find a way to get their defense going. That's the good, bad, and ugly for me.
It felt like a trap game for A&M going into that.
Definitely.
Further along in the game, more it felt like that too. Brandon, what's yours?
I mean, mine is almost the exact same. Texas A&M's offense was just firing. Marcel Reed throws for 280 yards, 3 touchdowns, runs for another one. They converted some high-pressure situations down the stretch on 4th downs. Couple of successful 4th down conversions to end up getting that win. And the good thing is a win is a win. They keep the perfect record alive. And they showed that they can find a way to win a crazy game. That being said, it's not going to get easier for them. It's definitely going to get tougher than Arkansas. But the bad for me is just the A&M defense overall. Like Dalton said, 268 yards rushing they gave up, and Arkansas had 527 total yards. Arkansas scored on their first 5 possessions before fading, and A&M ends up taking the lead. I mean, just a crazy game. The ugly is giving up 42 points by A&M. That defense has been pretty decent this year. They're not great, but they've been pretty decent. Giving up 42 points this season. I mean, that's a little scary to me if you're an A&M fan on what's to come. They have time to fix it, and they got a win out of it. It wasn't like ours where we laid our egg and ended up with a loss against Texas. Yep. And we were talking last week and through our chats. A&M always seems to have that letdown game, right? They always seem to have that game. Hopefully for them, this was that game, and they still found a way to win.
Yeah, and speaking of Texas, first, the 2 worst teams in the SEC, Arkansas and Kentucky. Well, Texas goes and plays Kentucky this weekend. It looks like a completely different team than played against Oklahoma last weekend. Brandon, we're going to stay with you to start off the good and bad and the ugly for this game.
Yeah, this was a crazy game. To me, the good was Texas's defense and special teams. Their defense came up big when it was required down the stretch and in overtime. And right at the end of the game, they held Kentucky to be able to force overtime. Then their special teams was a big plus, made a massive difference in this game. Another punt return for the second week in a row. And I don't know if it got on you guys' nerves like it did mine, but Ryan Niblett runs a punt return back for a touchdown. And they're like, oh, that's the second week in a row. They did that against Oklahoma last week. That bothered me, but that's the good for me is Texas defense and special teams. The bad is offensively, it was just a mess. I mean, they managed only 179 rushing or 179 total yards, 132 passing and 47 rushing. That's dangerous if you're trying to contend for the SEC championship. That is horrible. Arch Manning was only 12 of 27 on his passes, which to me doesn't surprise me because I've said all year that he's not that good. He's not that good of a quarterback, in my opinion. But he had no touchdowns. His accuracy was off. He just wasn't making good throws. That's the bad. The ugly was in the first half, Texas offense only crossed midfield one time.
Wow.
They only crossed midfield one time. The offense was almost lethargic looking in the first half, and it puts a lot of pressure on your defense and the other phases of your team. Sure. Just they've got to get that something figured out with the offense because it is struggling right now, and it's just making Arch Manning honestly look even worse and worse. The good thing for them, just like I said in the A&M game, is they were able to come out with the win, albeit it took overtime against a really bad team who may also be looking for a coach at some point this season. But they came up with a win, and that's what matters.
It was funny watching the Stoops brothers fight on the sidelines during that game.
Man, I don't know about you, and Teddy Lehman talked about it today, former OU linebacker, talked about it today, and he was like, bro, when you have one Stoops brother on you, it's bad enough. When you have two that are getting on your case, you don't want to be there.
Yeah, I bet. Dalton, what do you think of this game?
I mean, Ryan Niblett was the good for me. I mean, his 45-yard, he had 88 punt return yards on the day, but his 45-yard one that set up Texas's only touchdown of the game. I mean, he has to get the good because the bad is just Texas offense in general. Kind of like Unk said, I mean, Arch is not good. He's just not good. Their ground game was not good. 47 yards rushing total. I mean, so frustrating watching this Texas team now. But the ugly for me was different. The ugly for me is Kentucky's overtime performance and play calling.
Yeah.
What in the world? Game over. You're first and 10 from the 25 to start overtime, and you put the ball inside the 5, and then 4 straight play calls try to go up the middle, and you get stuffed 4 straight times. You had the stadium behind you. You had all the momentum. Texas was defeated. All right, it didn't work the first time. Second down, maybe don't try it again. Try it again. Doesn't work again. Now Texas has some life.
Yep.
Third down, try it again. Now Texas knows they're going to get this stop. Fourth down, I mean, I thought you'd try going outside or something. Play action, something.
I mean, I thought you kicked the field goal at that point.
After 3 straight
you haven't
tries.
moved the ball. You haven't moved the ball 2 yards in the last 3 plays. Kick the field goal. And you know what? The way it turns out, could have gone to the second overtime at least and given yourself another chance.
Yeah, because at that point, I'm not believing that this offense is going to move the ball 25 yards.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I'm just going to trust that Arch Manning's that bad. And this offense is not good. They barely had double of the 25 yards rushing the entire game. So, yeah, I definitely think that they should have kicked the field goal. But if you're going to go for it, I mean, I can respect it. Just don't do the same thing you tried the previous 3 plays. Yeah. Yeah, that's the ugly. I mean, Texas is not a good football team. Kentucky's not a good football team. This game was the bad of the bad. It was so hard to watch.
I think those 4 plays are the definition of insanity.
Right? Trying something over and over again that doesn't work.
They're hoping for a different outcome. Yeah. Let's do one more in the good, bad, and the ugly. If you guys are good, one of these teams is one we will see this weekend. Georgia versus Ole Miss. Dalton, I'll stay with you to start this one off. What do you got?
Yeah, what a game. The good for me is Gunner Stockton, 26 for 31, 289 yards, 4 touchdown passes, and a 22-yard rushing touchdown. I mean, it didn't start out well for Georgia. They had to climb back, and they eventually took the lead late in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were down in the fourth quarter, but he just continued to rally. He continued to play. He stayed composed. He gets the good. The bad for me, and I know both defenses weren't good. There was a lot of points scored here, but Georgia's defense, they allowed a score on Ole Miss's first 5 drives. They gave up chunk plays, 1 for 75 yards. This just isn't your typical Georgia defense, the physical defense, the disciplined defense, the, do your assignment defense. And so it's interesting to watch a Georgia defense give up this many big plays and this many points in a game, especially at home. And then the ugly, you've heard the saying, like an ugly win is still a win, or there's no such thing as an ugly win. But the way they win right now, this is an ugly win to me. They were down 11 in the fourth. Well, it's admirable that you come back. Can you sustain it, though? You couldn't come back against Bama. You had a really bad, an ugly win against a not good Auburn team. You were about to go down 17-0 until the fumble debacle. You were able to come back and win this one as well. Like, how long can Georgia can they sustain playing like this? I mean, can you rely on Gunner Stockton? He's a game manager. He's not a guy that throws 4 touchdown passes and rushes for 1. I mean, he accounted for 5 touchdowns on the day. Can they sustain that? I don't know.
Yeah, Ole Miss will face a completely different defense this weekend. We'll get to that in a second.
We'd like to think so.
Yeah. Brandon, how are you feeling about this one?
I think the good to me was Gunner Stockton in this game. He had a really strong game. He was 26 for 31 for 289 yards, 4 touchdowns, and rushed for 1. And then Georgia's resilience late into the game was miraculous, because going into the fourth quarter, they were trailing by 11, like Dalton said. They had 17 unanswered points to win. Mm-hmm. And they outgained Ole Miss 510 to 351. And they totally controlled the time of possession. So that was the big deal for me. Georgia's resilience, and Gunner Stockton had a really good game. Problem is, Gunner Stockton's going to have more of those games if this defense does that. And that leads me to my bad. Georgia's defense looked really, really sketchy for about 3 quarters. Like Dalton said, they scored on their first 5 drives, Ole Miss did, but they scored touchdowns on their first 5 possessions. That is not acceptable at the level of Georgia. That is not close to the level that Georgia's defense normally is. Yeah. Georgia committed a lot of mistakes early, had some defensive penalties, even had a couple of offensive penalties, and gave the momentum to Ole Miss, and Ole Miss just ran with it. Ole Miss's offense can do that. They ran with it. But then the ugly was Ole Miss's fourth quarter offense. After, what was this? Georgia did not give them a first down after their first punt of the second half, or of the fourth quarter.
Yeah, what a flip.
Ole Miss had the ball to start the fourth quarter. They punted, and they didn't gain another first down the rest of the game.
Wow.
So while the comeback was impressive, Ole Miss's defense just looked bad down the stretch. So it gave me a little bit of hope. Georgia is kind of relying on miraculous finishes and miraculous fourth quarters to come back in a lot of these games. And so the further this season goes, the rougher that's going to get for sure.
Yeah, we're just used to seeing that fourth quarter Georgia team in the first and second quarter. I mean, where teams are struggling to get first downs early and they're not breaking away for 75-yard touchdowns on them.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. This weekend, Hottie Toddy gets introduced to Boomer Sooner, at least in Norman. We took the trip there last year. They take a trip to visit us this weekend, 11 o'clock on ABC, just after excuse me, ESPN College Game Day will be the kickoff that we flip over to Oklahoma versus Ole Miss. Brandon, let's stay with you on what it's going to take for Oklahoma to come out with a W at the end of this one.
Man, there's a couple of things for me. Offensively, you have to be able to continue some kind of running game. Ole Miss doesn't have a great rushing defense. Whereas Ole Miss is giving up 80.4 yards a game rushing, but they've given up a couple of long runs, a couple of breakouts that somebody's taken to the house. They just can't afford to do that. If we can do that, then we'll be good. You know, I sent in our brain trust text earlier today a quote from John Mateer after the game that basically said, it doesn't matter if I'm feeling good or not. You know, we went out and got the job done today. I was going to battle through it. So it tells me that they hadn't quite been telling us the truth. They hadn't necessarily been lying, but he's still not 100% healthy coming off of his hand surgery, which you can expect. I mean, it's been 22 days now, something like that. So, I mean, you can expect that. So he needs to manage the game. He did a great job of that this week. He turned into a game manager this week. He threw for 150 yards and a touchdown and just managed the game. But he had really good stats while he was doing it. So, you know, this OU offense is averaging 379 yards a game, and the Ole Miss defense is giving up 362 yards a game. So if we can continue some success on the ground, and it doesn't have to be, we don't have to have 100-yard rushers every game, but if we can get some success on the ground where we're not constantly in 2nd and 8, 2nd and 9, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, you can get some of that stuff going, then I think it'll be fine. I think our defense will slow them down for sure. I mean, we can look at what Georgia did in the first half or in the fourth quarter, I mean, against their offense and just totally shut their offense down. Brent Venables, when he was at Clemson and they played South Carolina all the time, they played Ole Miss all the time, he was 1-4 against Ole Miss as a defensive coordinator, not giving them much to go off of at all. And all those weren't against Lane Kiffin in this offense, but I really think he can learn from last year's game. I mean, we controlled that game for a lot of the game.
A lot of it.
And then end up losing in the fourth quarter, but we can go off of that and we can just go off of what we've been doing. If we can control the line of scrimmage at all on defense, which I think we can, because I don't think this Ole Miss offense is super physical up front. They've had Trinidad Chambliss and Austin Simmons, you know, running for their lives a little bit. We just got to continue to get pressure. If we can get pressure and we can somewhat play a clean game, I think we come out on top in this one.
Dalton, do you know a good place that Lane Kiffin can do some hot yoga before the game?
Only place I've ever done hot yoga was Aberdeen, South Dakota. So in Norman, I'm out on that. I don't know I don't know where you should go. But
what about this game?
Man, I do love his comments. He cracks me up every single time he says something. I mean, even just the way he kind of trolls Kirby during the game and jokes with the ref saying, I didn't call timeout. I was telling you they were clapping. And so he's funny like that. I think his personality is hilarious. I love listening to him in the media, but I'm excited for this game because I think that this game is really going to show us how good our defense is. You know, our defense is really good, but we're playing a explosive offense. They're averaging 37 points per game. They're averaging just under 10 yards per pass attempt. They're rushing for almost 5 yards a carry. I mean, they're going to be good, and we need to control time of possession again. I think that's a big deal, especially with John Mateer, who may not be able to come out and go head-to-head with Chambliss in a high-scoring affair. You know, we're going to need to run the ball. We're going to have to.
This isn't going to be Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes?
Shouldn't. No, I don't think it can be. I think we lose that battle.
I don't think it can either.
I think we lose that battle, especially with him not being 100% healthy, and he's not, he's just not running as physical. He's not, he's not taking contact as physical anymore. He's not trying to run through people. And he doesn't need to do that, obviously. It's just, I'm really anxious to see how good is our defense against an offense like this. I mean, they went on the road, and again, they struggled in the fourth quarter. I mean, there was a tale of two halves for Ole Miss's offense, but they still started out on the road in Georgia, 5 straight touchdowns. If they do that to OU, can OU score 40 points to win this game?
Right. Right.
I mean, that's where I don't know, so our defense really needs to step up this week, and they need to raise their level, I think, and they don't need to buy into the fact that everybody in the country is telling them they're the best defense. They need to let that go. They need to tune it out. I mean,
rat poison.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
They don't need to buy into that, because every week is a new week. 11 a.m. in Norman. You have to be ready to play against a really high. I think they're an explosive offense. Like I'm nervous to play against this offense, and I hope that our defense is just ready for this test.
Excited for it.
It's by far going to be the best offense we've played.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I feel like this is our true SEC test right here. Like this is the start of what the rest of the season, right? 11 o'clock ABC this Saturday. Looking forward to it. There are only 4 unbeaten teams left in the top 25. That's it, 4 unbeaten teams. After last week's picks, putting +6 in Brandon's column, +3 in Dalton's, that gives us 53-46. Starting the picks right now this week with South Florida versus Memphis. Each only have lost 1 game this year. 11 a.m. ESPN2. Dalton, our start with you. Who are you picking here? South Florida versus Memphis.
I'm gonna go with South Florida to get the win on the road here.
Okay. How about you?
I agree with that.
Yep. All right. Next up is UCLA versus Indiana. 11 o'clock on Fox. Brandon?
Give me Indiana. Indiana's playing good right now. Fernando Mendoza is they're calling it Mendoza mania. I mean, this guy's thrown for 21 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions. He's only incompleted 48 of his 181 passes this year. Like, he is just balling right now. I know UCLA has turned the corner. I believe they've won their last 3.
Yes,
they've turned the corner after. Once they beat Penn State. And Nico Iamaleava, we know he's kind of a freak athlete, but give me Mendoza mania in Indiana.
All right, Dalton?
Indiana. I'll be a believer in UCLA if they win this game, but give me Indiana.
Dalton staying with you on this one to start it off. Missouri versus Vandy, 2:30 on ESPN.
I got to go Vandy. I didn't pick them last week. Got to go Vandy.
How about you, B?
Same.
Turn the corner on him.
Pavi is gonna have a day at home, I think.
Yeah, just run on. Just put him out. He's like the Energizer Bunny. Just let him go. He'll just run all day.
No kidding.
Brandon, Syracuse versus Georgia Tech, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Give me Georgia Tech in this one. I think this Georgia Tech team has struggled a little bit in some of their games, and not real sure they've been as good as they were expected to be. I love Georgia Tech's coach, and I'm going to take Georgia Tech.
Who you got here, Dalton?
Georgia Tech.
Okay. Moving on to Texas versus Mississippi State, 3:15 on the SEC Network. Dalton.
Mississippi State for the upset.
Okay. B?
I'm calling the same thing. Texas offense sucks. I was hoping Dalton was going to pick Texas so we could have a different one. But Texas's offense sucks right now. They have a great defense. Their offense is just not good.
Yeah, so far, you two toe on the line. Alabama versus South Carolina is 2:30 on ABC just after Oklahoma and Ole Miss. Brandon.
Oh, give me Bama on this one. Bama's playing good right now. They may be versus their competition. They may be playing the best ball in the country right now. Ohio State hadn't played a ton of big games yet this year. So give me Alabama.
How about you, Dalton? Toe on the line.
Bama, and I think they cover.
Okay. One more here. Must win for Brian Kelly. Texas A&M versus LSU going into Death Valley, 6:30 on ABC. Dalton, let's start with you.
I'm going to go with LSU at home on this one.
Are you? Okay.
I'm not. That's not the real Death Valley. The real Death Valley is at Clemson. So I'm going Texas A&M.
Talking crap before the final game of the season. Like that. All right. That leaves one thing left. Our locks. Brandon, starting with you.
I am going to take a game we've already picked. Okay. I'm going to take Indiana minus the 24.5. That's a big spread. But I'm going to take Indiana minus 24.5 against UCLA. Indiana's at home. Fernando Mendoza, like I said earlier, is balling out. He's thrown for over 1,750 yards already this year. 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, like I said in our regular picks. Nico has had a couple of good games here. That offense seems to be moving the ball a little bit. I just don't think they can stop Indiana, and I think Indiana is going to run up and down the field. Give me Indiana minus the 24.5.
Minus 20, okay. All right, Dalton, how about you?
I'm also going to go with the game we picked, but I'm going to stick with Mississippi State here, plus 6.5. Here's
Indiana.
The deal. Texas offense can't even score 6 points in a game. So if Mississippi State can figure out how to tackle on a punt, they're going to be all right.
Yeah, their offense may not have to. The rate Niblets going.
There you go. Well, that right there is going to be that one in the final game. A&M and LSU going to be the difference maker this week, and in your score. You still got quite a bit to catch up on, Dalton. If you want to take.
Yeah, I need some big weeks, but I've had a comeback before, so we're all right. True. There's time. There's a lot of season left.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm picking pretty good right now. I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, man, yours have been great. Well, and it's funny going down the list every week. I go to add them up, and I'm like, okay, I'm marking just like, okay, got that one, and then I just look across, see what Dalton's are. I'm like, oh, there's only like one different.
Yeah. I mean,
if we didn't have different picks, though, I mean, we'd just be tied, and it'd be zeros, and
then Dalton wouldn't owe me golf at the end of the season.
There's that.
You can just wait and hear Brandon's picks each week.
Guys, I'm excited about this game this weekend for real. It's going to be a true test, I feel like. And I know we have a loss, but I don't really feel like we've been tested when we're playing good. I don't feel like we played great offensively on that game. I'm really looking forward to the weekend. You know what they say, though, right?
The weekend is good.
But Brandon's birthday is always better. Happy birthday to you.
Thanks.
And boom goes the dynamite.